special guest that we have today. This is Samantha Harris. Thank you so much for being here, first of all. But second off, she is a coach, consultant, speaker. She's been doing this for over 15 years, and she's really stepping into this and telling you how to own your space in the workplace and fully show up as who you know you're supposed to be, not who the world tells you that you should be. So you talk a lot about women that are owning their space and why it's important to embrace this mindset. And so, and especially in careers, because that is a huge part of your womanhood. And can you tell us a little bit about how you became passionate about empowering women in the workplace? Did that come from a personal story or you saw someone else? And what was really the story behind that?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for having me, Gayala. Thank you for reaching out. I mean, I truly appreciate it for watching my video, watching my workshop, and then reaching out because everyone doesn't always do those things. So, thank you for being who you are and stepping out and trusting the process. For me, I have been working in a male dominated industry for the past 25 years. And in that 25 years, I faced a lot of challenges, with different circumstances that arise. And sometimes I found myself backpedaling, not showing up 110%, waiting for someone else to validate me, even though I knew I was the most qualified, even though I knew that I deserved to be there. So it took me a while to
Mhm.
learn the skills to stand up for myself, believe in myself. You know, we believe in ourselves when we walk into these jobs that I can do it, but something, especially in male dominated industries, we tend to fall back and allow men to take the lead, and we can get into all of that, but if
Yeah.
but when you're the first, the only, or one of few, it's a lot of
Mhm.
obstacles that we face that we don't even realize until we unpack it and understand why we're not fully showing up as ourselves.
That is so important, especially because that's one of the main reasons I reached out is because this is information that can literally help every young woman, every middle age, older, whichever, like wherever you are in your life, this information can absolutely improve your life. And it's just interesting that I never really saw information that was so specific to empowering women in the workplace. And this is 100% necessary. And I'm so glad that you showed up and did your work and you were able to say I know that people need to hear this and so I'm going to put that out. And so that's within itself, that is amazing because that not only shows women to listen to what you're saying but also look at who you're being. Like you showed up, you did what you're supposed to do, you're talking about something that you're passionate about, and that helps a lot of women. And so I can just commend you on that because watching if you I should also say that and mention that I found her event on Eventbrite. So I was searching and I found some because that's things that I need too, really, right?
Yes,
So I went
we
and
all
found that
need
and
it.
and it's so interesting that exactly what you need can be found in someone's message. And so I'm just so happy that you're even putting out your message.
Oh,
And so the thing that I wanted to go through is that confidence is a really tough thing to cultivate. Like you said, like it took you a while to like grasp on that and like be able to hold on to it and keep repeating it and become like be embodied in that person who can be really confident in the workplace. And so, what is the advice that you would have for women that struggle with that self doubt in professional settings specifically, especially like you work in male dominated fields? So, for those type of women.
for me and for other women that work in male dominated industries, I tell women, especially those that work with me and anyone who wants to hear it to know, I tell them to first self ally
Mm,
because knowing themselves, believing in themselves, and trusting what you bring to the table is enough. Stepping into it with all your qualifications, everything that you bring to the table is worth you being there. So when you own that, own what you do, own what you qualify for, without looking around for someone else to validate you, you step in differently. You step in wholly as yourself. Like, hey, I'm here, see me, I'm showing up. So that's what I would tell any women. Don't look for someone else to validate you. Don't look to see if someone else is looking over your shoulder. Because when we start looking for someone else to see if they're looking over our shoulder, if we start looking for other people to see if we're good enough, then, or if we're doing the right thing. And who
Wow,
gets to
yeah.
decide if you're doing the right thing more so than you?
Exactly.
So I would
Literally.
tell any woman, first you're going to believe in you. Believe that what you're
Mhm.
doing, no matter what, is correct. You get to stand 10 toes down in it and believe in you. You get rooted in this and your belief of knowing that you are qualified and enough. And then you get to show up differently. When you're not looking for anybody or looking for anything to show you that you are worth being in that spot or that you bring value, you show up differently. You walk differently.
Mm.
You know, you can walk from the back to the front and still know you belong. You can walk through a crowd of 100
Wow.
and know that you own it, that it's yours.
Yeah.
So, this is what I want women to know, that own who you are, own what you do, own the value that you bring, and come with it. Bring you.
Right. And I love that, you said that own what you qualify for.
Yes.
What? It's like we are so confident in the fact that we can write the resume and we got all the accolades and we clearly measure up to the job description. But then when it's time to get into the actual job itself and we're settling in, that's when all the problems come. But it's like own what you qualify for. That is so, I mean, just the way that you put that is mind blowing, honestly.
And well, you know why? Because let me tell you why we don't do it though. Right? We don't do it because we start second guessing ourselves. When we
Mm,
become unsure, because everyone is looking at us, everyone is trying to figure us out. So when we start owning it and believing in it, it's a shift in us.
wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You get to stand up taller. You don't ask everybody, like, what you think? How you, what should I? We are just conditioned and programmed as women to ask that anyway.
Mm. Yeah.
So,
That
us
decision
being,
making process. Yeah.
yes, it is. So,
Yeah, and when you're working a job, that's, I mean, this it's decisions all day long. So that is super exhausting actually to have to keep referring to someone, "Hey, do you think I did this right? Hey, is this cool? Oh, do you think they'll like this?" And that seems like you're working 3 jobs at once, not just the one position that you were hired for. You're doing more unnecessarily because you can't step into who you're supposed to be.
that is exactly true. We walk in there and now we geared up, we ready for a fight because somewhere deep down in the back of our minds, we're not sure if we really belong there or if they just hired us. These are things that the
Mm,
system has told us that we aren't really qualified and we believe it unconsciously. So when we get the opportunity, we think that they're giving us something that we've actually earned. So learning that
mhm.
lets you stand up different in it. And going forward, when you have to fight with yourself, fight with the environment that you're in, it always brings about a battle within you. And you fighting all day. So you're exhausted. And look, think about it. If you got a family at home, or you have other obligations, or you're trying to serve in the church, or you're trying to be part of different programs and organizations, you're exhausted
Yeah.
to even give anything to yourself.
Oh my gosh. And you're doing that every single day of the week.
Every Yes.
Wow. Or maybe even just 5 work days, but still, that is exhausting because you're spending the weekend trying to recuperate and prepare yourself to do it again for another 5 days.
Isn't that something when you really think about it, that you're
Wow.
still fighting a battle that you've already won because you walked in qualified. And you know, at the end of the day, we were taught to show up 10 times more qualified than the next person. And then we're still trying to prove ourselves when we get there. And when you're in these male dominated industries, when you see that the men are second guessing you, and we've been conditioned and programmed to think that men know more, can do more, are better than,
Mhm.
and should have the answers, and we're stepping in a realm that doesn't belong to us, we then kind of censor ourselves and don't show up fully.
Yeah. We take those steps back for sure. I've seen that with other people, but also myself just taking steps back because you are like, "Oh, well, this is not my arena. So let me go and talk to who arena this is," but it's any of us arena,
Yeah.
honestly, and we don't have to abide by what the world is saying. Like you said, that's one of the things we're programmed with is that we don't deserve to be there. And if we get some type of job that it's been given to us, like this is like, oh, you're being given this because they just want to give it to you, not that you actually earned it. And it's I mean, I've never even heard of this stuff, like, pulled out of context in this way, but this is literally the life that a lot of people are living,
Yes,
like, a lot of
it's our thought
women.
process. The way we think creates a feeling inside of us where we
Mhm.
react a certain way. That's why we show up these ways. But if we change the way we're thinking, change the way we're speaking to ourselves, we automatically show up different.
Yeah. What would you say about, like, so if we're changing the way that we feel about ourselves, how can we change the way that we're kind of embracing the confidence that we have? So, like, how do we change that? So if we're approaching it in a way that's not helping us currently, how do we change and start to be able to speak up for ourselves, be able to be confident? And I mean, whether that has to do with a raise or you're trying to get some type of promotion, like, how does that play out if I feel like, oh, well, I got this job and I'm just gonna have this job, and I'm starting to feel those pressures come on me. I don't know what to do next, you know?
What to do next? I would say, just like I would tell my client, we're going to stop and we're going to understand why we're thinking these thoughts. Because
Mm,
the thoughts are controlling you. The thoughts are making you feel that you don't belong, that you aren't qualified, that you shouldn't speak up. And it's creating this fear inside of you that's not allowing you to show up fully, professionally, and personally. So, your personal life, your personal beliefs, your system that has been ingrained inside of you is now stepping into your business life. So, rebuilding that confidence or building the confidence takes one step at a time, getting to know your why you are not doing something. People always want to know your why, how to start something. Your
yep.
why, understanding why you're not doing something is just as important. And then understand that core belief within you that's telling you why you should.
Can
And
you
then
wait,
we
wait,
can
wait,
do the
wait,
work.
wait, wait, wait. You said the wait, 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 sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But you said the why not is just as important as the why you're doing it. Cause that's all
Yes.
I hear. I hear the know your why, know your why. I need you to can you get into like the polarity of that? Like talk about that
Your
as
why
well.
not is just as
Yeah.
important because if you don't understand why you're not showing up, why you're not believing, why you're not going, why you're not giving, why you still believe that you're not the person for the job, or why you're asking yourself all the time, should I, shouldn't I, should I ask someone else? You need to figure that out because that's your core belief.
No, I love that. Like you need to figure that out. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
Because that
That's
keeps you from showing up. You know what I mean? Like when you think about it, if you're sitting and you're going, well, I don't understand. I really wanted to say something, but why aren't you? And to figure
it's
that
quiet.
out.
That is quiet.
It's crickets, right?
Yeah.
Where my voice at? I can have all the answers to why I shouldn't show up, but exactly why. The underlying belief within yourself. What is that core belief about you that feels that you shouldn't, that you don't deserve, that someone has to give you something instead of
Mm.
you stepping into it? You believing, you belonging.
Yeah. And you work with clients, so we're going to have all your contact information down below in the description for this video, so it'll stay in the description box if you guys want to get in contact with Samantha Kay. But as far as your clients that you currently have, like what are the most common things you hear when women are coming to you with, all types of situations? What are some of the underlying problems that they have, like that are the most common?
They want everyone to understand them. Like they don't understand me, they don't get me.
Mm,
But why should someone get you? When you don't even get yourself. That is the biggest thing that I hear all the time, wanting the rest of the world to validate them and understand them. That's what I work on my clients with. That's why I believe so much in
mm,
self allyship. Because you believing in you, you standing for you understanding you is going to give you that confidence within yourself to stand in any place at any time. And it may be shaky some days and you might not be sure, but you'll be courageous enough to try anyway. So
yeah.
those are some of the things. The fear of speaking up because what if I'm wrong? What if I'm ostracized? And then the next thing is if I speak up, will I get fired? So let's talk
Mhm.
about that. Have some women gotten fired for speaking up? Or is that the fear that's been instilled in us over time? Some women have,
Yeah.
but that fear that's inside of us, that fear that we aren't good enough, that fear that they can take something from you, when you stepped into it fully qualified, makes you freeze, or it makes you fawn, like, oh my goodness, that's when you people pleasing, or it makes you run before they can push you out, or you go into fight mode immediately. You fighting for your life. That's when you armored with the whole armor guard and you standing there fighting all day, every day.
Yeah.
These are the things that my clients come to me and want to talk about and want to understand about themselves because they're tired. 9 times out of 10, my clients are tired when they come to me. They're
Mm.
looking for more within themselves. They want to go for the promotions, but they don't think that anyone's going to give it to them. First of all, ain't nobody going to give you anything. You're going to earn it.
Yeah.
And knowing that you can earn it, knowing that you can step into it and bring everything that that position needs. And 9 times out of 10, we as women, we bring a different perspective to the job. So we know how to navigate things differently, but we don't even give our selves a chance because we're waiting for someone to
Mm.
give it to us, step into it. I remember even when I first started going for higher positions, going into leadership positions at my job, I did not. I was looking for, I was fine where I was. I'm fine behind the scenes. But I remember my father used to say, it's better to be the boss than to be boss. And I really didn't get it then, but I get it and I hold on to that. And this is even what I tell my clients and some of my direct reports. When you can make the decisions, then you can make the changes and then you can make the shifts. And that's how we change the world. So, in knowing that within yourself, you show up differently. But as long as we're standing behind, looking for someone else to see us, give us something, instead of knowing that you have something to give to the world, there's never going to be a change.
So it's like what you have to give is the actual is is the thing you're looking to do. Like you're actually looking to give something, not be validated or ask someone what their opinions are. Cause I mean, like you said, like we know what works best for us as individuals. So how can someone else's opinion actually really help me? Like what am I actually looking for? If I know that someone else's opinion will never be as good as mine, then why would I be asking?
Why do you?
Sounds like I'm just trying to stop the success that I already know I can get. Like if I step into a person or step into who I know I can be, I know where I can get. But I'm like, okay, let me take a pit stop first and start asking other people.
And what that do for you?
Nothing so far. Nothing yet.
But I want you to understand, but that's how we've been raised and trained.
Yeah.
And I keep
Um,
back, and I've said this a couple of times in conversations with my colleagues that most of the times we have been programmed and conditioned to think that way, that we need someone. We've
mm,
never been told or been allowed as women until recently to even have bank accounts, to buy houses. We had to get permission from our husbands to go to work. And
yeah.
that was 50 years ago. 50 years ago is not that long ago. We think it
Yeah.
seemed like a long time, but it has not. So remember, this has been programmed over time, over years, time, family after family. So you think it's going to change overnight. It's not. It's us unlearning some of these behaviors and learning that why not
Yeah.
and that why. Because that gives us that shift of knowledge in our own selves so that we can move further.
Yeah. So what do you think about when women say, "Oh, well, I wanna do XYZ in my job, but I wouldn't be the boss because, oh, I just couldn't do that." Or, "I wanna be in this room, but I don't wanna be one of the leaders in that room because I shouldn't do that." What do you feel, would be, like, good advice for those type of women who are, like, they kinda wanna step into it, but they don't really want the smoke of, like, everything that comes with it? It's the earring for me.
It's all right with the earring for you. Um,
You know what? Let me just take it
I would find out why they don't want to. What's really
mm,
holding back? Is that what's the underlying belief? What if you are the boss? What if the smoke do come for you? How many things and what challenges have you faced in your life and you came out on top? See, we need to
Yeah.
again understanding that. What if you don't do a project right? What if you learn
Mhm.
something? Instead of thinking of it as a fail, think of it as a learning experience.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's where we get to start understanding ourselves when we're so
Mhm.
afraid of making a mistake because of what they might say something, they might judge us, but are we judging ourselves first?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And man, that's like this is less about what to do at other people, towards a job, towards the male dominated whatever, and more self-reflection, really. It's
yeah,
more like, what do you want? What do you see for yourself? Who do you want to step into? You
yeah.
know?
Because I remember times, I'm telling you, this is a journey. I
Mhm.
wasn't always this human that I am now. I remember being afraid to speak up or having my direct reports question me because I am a woman and they didn't feel they had to follow up with me or speak to me where they told me this to my face. And I looked for my colleagues to have my back. And not until I started having my own back and speaking up and making moves towards redirecting the way they were thinking and talking to me and
Mm.
letting them understand who I am and standing 10 toes down in it. Did anything change for me? Their respect level elevated for me.
Mm.
I wasn't going to ask anyone till you see what they did. Watch when you see what they did. No, we're not doing that. I own this. I own all of it, meaning I own my room. I own my respect. I own what I do. And I even own my mistakes because that's where my growth happened.
Yeah. And it's like, don't let what is the saying? It's like, don't go down to their level, let them rise up to yours. Like
Yes.
that type of thing.
It basically is. You're no longer trying to get them to understand you by getting down there, baby. Please understand me. Figure it out. It's like a bad relationship when you begging and pleading for somebody to hold on to you.
Yeah.
It is. This way, when you standing up and you standing up for yourself and you can look back and start loving yourself and believing in your value that you bring, you're no longer going to allow anyone to treat you the way they want to. They're going to treat you the way you demand to be treated. That's where you're putting boundaries in place. You're no longer
Mhm.
walking through me because I'm standing in it. I'm rooted in what I believe and in my confidence and my courage and my strength. And I'm not going to allow you to waver. And I may sway a little bit because that's just how the mind works. It sometimes questions, or if you've conquered something on the right, they're gonna bring the mind is a funny thing. It's gonna bring it on the left in a different way, in a different color.
Yeah.
But you can kind of reflect and remember, no, this is how I stood up. This is what I did to show up the last time. So again, remembering and then those thoughts that are created by your core beliefs, and you get to change them because anything that we do doesn't have to be a norm. We have the right and the privilege to change it for us and how it's going to work for us.
Yeah. And you've talked in a few different moments about like your feelings cause the thoughts and the thoughts cause the belief, or like some type of streamline. Can you explain that a little bit? Because I kind of think I know what you're saying about that, but I would love for you to go into like how you see that streamline and kind of how things play out in life through that.
Okay, so for an example, if I have a woman that's working in a male dominated industry and she believes that because the men don't tell her good job or because she learned how to operate a new machine, that, oh, they didn't say good job, but they told Paul he did a good job. So I don't believe, so her thought is they don't believe I'm qualified. She
Mm,
learned how to work and operate a machine. Her thought is because the men didn't validate me by saying, the men didn't say good job. So, oh, I don't think that they think I'm qualified or I'm good enough. So, what
mm,
does that do? That makes her angry or it makes her sad. And that's a feeling.
Yeah.
And with that feeling that you're having, then you start to react a certain way.
Yeah, you
If
probably do the job less good. You probably kinda show up kinda iffy.
yes, now you questioning yourself, now you mad, sitting in the corner. Now, you know, now you talking about the men instead of continuing to believe that you're doing a good job, continuing practicing, continue elevating, learning how to work something else.
Mm. So you
So
took
the
you took the whole sorry, what were you gonna say?
so that thought that you were having caused you to doubt yourself. So it wasn't the men doubting you. You started
Mm.
doubting yourself. So those thoughts give you your results.
I am really shocked right now if you can't tell, like, this is being said in a way, like, I've never heard or, like, verbally heard before, because that's literally how everything plays out, now that I'm thinking about it. If I am, like, doing something and I feel, "Oh, so and so didn't say anything or so and so didn't act this way, that means I'm not blah, blah, blah," and then I show up less than, and they're off in their own
Well,
world.
see that now there you go messing it up. That was a thought you had, and a thought creates a feeling inside of you.
Wow. So what is the solution to that? Like, what part do we need to
We need
tweak
to
a little
address
bit?
our thoughts. We need to adjust our thoughts and
Hmm.
learn to stop allowing our thoughts to control us.
How do we do that? That's the key right there. I like that point. Like, how do we
Look,
do that?
call me. Call me.
Yeah.
Let's do the work. Let's do the work to get you
Yeah.
to the next level. That's what everyone doesn't know, that we get to decide what we're going to think. No one is
Wow.
controlling us. That is controlling someone is like a temper tantrum that you want your way, so you're going to try to control everything around you.
Mm.
That's adult childhood. Throwing temper tantrums, and then you're not even telling people what you want or what you need. So learning to
Wow.
take control of you and your thoughts allows you to create, because you get to create different outcomes by the way we
Mm.
think, the way we show up. People say manifest, people say all the things that they want. But if we walk in belief that we are qualified, that we belong, that everything is good in our lives, we walk differently. You think about it when you're happy and you're having all these positive thoughts. You can barely stand still. You probably skipping, you know. You
No,
think about
actually,
it.
yeah.
You think about it, and think about even when you're loving somebody and you in love with them. What makes you love them? The thoughts that you're having.
Literally, just the you see like the a letter of their name, you're like, "Oh my gosh."
And
Whole
then you're going to
whole day
tell me
brighter.
all these thoughts you're having about this human.
Yeah.
So, what if you start having these thoughts about what you're doing for you? What
Wow.
if you start loving you enough to have good thoughts, talking to yourself nice? What is going to happen? You're going to have good thoughts and feel good. You're going to have happy feelings.
Yeah.
You're going to have joy. You're going to be able to lean into your joy even on those bad days. And
Mm.
that's going to help
Yeah.
continue to elevate you to that next level. So even if you're having a perceived bad day, you can lean into the joy that's going to get you through it and get you to that next level. And this is another thing that I help my clients understand about themselves,
Yeah.
believing that they have control of what they think. No one has control of what you think or what you feel. Something may have happened and the thing might have upset you that happened, but that doesn't mean it gets to control you.
Yeah. It's the past. It's like it's never coming back.
It's not even just the past, it's just that person or that thing doesn't have dominion over you. You're giving it that by thinking that. Your thoughts.
It's like so what you're saying is that you are giving it meaning. Like, none of it actually means what it's all just like a blank slate until you give it meaning.
That's right.
Wow.
And that's what we have to work on as women, because a lot of times we still give men every thought that we have. It's because of them.
Mhm.
It's because they don't want us here. It's because they didn't give me the opportunity, or they gave me this opportunity. So I have to do more with less. I have to prove that they made the right choice. These are all your thoughts that you're having. You're
Yeah.
not giving yourself any credit. You're not even telling yourself you love you anymore. You're telling
Ooh,
me that they love you more because they gave you opportunities.
wow. Like, how can you focus on loving yourself and what and feeding yourself with positive, thoughts and positive feedback if all you do is give your thought like giving all your thoughts to other people?
Yeah.
Wow. You're literally giving your whole entire like you're giving your like every thought, every all your brain. You're just like, "Here you go. I don't need to focus on myself anymore."
No. You're
Wow.
just so what do you do with that? How do you get back to being you? How do you get
Mm,
to even know you? And that's another thing that women have not been taught. So when you go into an environment where you're the first to only or few women and you're working with these men and you've been conditioned to live like that, you automatically start to show up that way there.
wow.
And you're doing it and you're giving all away at home. You're giving it all away of yourself at work. It's nothing left for you. And if you have children and other obligations, what's left for you?
Nothing. You might
So
be actually negative by that point.
you are. So your cup is empty and you're still trying to give.
Yeah.
So that's
Wow.
why I work with clients to learn to it all works hand in hand, learning to manage your time, your mind, your feelings, you
Yeah.
know.
I love that.
We get to create the life we want and
Yeah.
learning that we have control is the key.
It's like it's literally mind-blowing, and this is some super deep inner work that we can't cover in an hour of a podcast. It's that like it just goes deep. It's not just, "Oh, don't listen." Oh, it's just, man, they're just saying whatever they're saying. Like, this goes really, really deep, and I love that you offer coaching for this because this is so necessary. Like,
It
wow.
is.
Yeah.
We as women, we become conditioned. It's the norms, all the things, it's traditions. So if you
Yeah.
have a tradition in your family, you don't want to break that. You want to keep
No.
because that's what you've been taught, but it's no longer serving you. It's no longer working for you in your life right now, but you continue to do it because God forbid you stop.
Mm.
Is it really serving you? So is it really the right thing for you?
Ooh, and that goes back to the thoughts thing. You're like, "Oh, they're gonna think that I'm XYZ." Whole time they're in their own they don't care about that tradition probably half as much as you do.
That's
But in your head, you're just like you're stressing yourself, you're exhausting yourself, and then you stick to it and you do it when all these people probably don't care.
and
Anyway,
if they but you get to pick and choose the ones that benefit you. But we
yeah.
don't even give ourselves as women that much respect
Mm,
to pick and choose. We let everything around us, like norms, the norm of how you're supposed to show up or what you're supposed to do. Society has norms that we fall into and that we agree to that from the time that we are born.
yeah. What
So,
about, what about guilt, though? Like, what if we're, like, feeling guilty that we're not sticking to what we're supposed to?
and what is guilt? A feeling.
Guilt is a feeling. Yeah.
And a feeling comes from what?
Let me see if I did my homework. Great. So feelings come from the thoughts.
There you go. Come on, somebody. Let's talk about it.
Wow. So if I were to tweak that thought a little bit, I wouldn't even be stressing about all that other stuff. Wow. That so when you say that you can pick and choose and you can really create your reality, you do it through the thoughts. Like, you do it through
Exactly.
changing all the thoughts that like probably start with the biggest issues, tweak those thoughts, which changes the results, and you just keep doing that.
And you keep doing it, but I don't want you to think it's just that simple.
Yeah.
Learning the core beliefs and where they come
Mhm.
from, and then understanding why we're showing up or not showing up. So
Yeah.
it's to do all of the work, because we can just change a thought, but is it really going to be lasting? If you want this work and do this inner work, that's going to last and going to change your life and allow you to grow and allow you to make the shifts and changings that you want and that you want to see in the world, you have to show up differently.
Oh, not just one time, over and
Not
over and
one
over.
time.
Yeah.
No, this work is constant. And as you elevate, you may switch and go somewhere else, or you might say, you know what, I want to work in this area now in my life. Be it finances, be it love, relationships, that inner self work.
Yeah.
So it's always work to be done.
Always.
I'm not saying it's easy because I've done it. I do it with my clients every day where they have that um what's it called, that light bulb moment, that aha moment where it's like, oh God, I didn't realize that. And is this why I'm showing up at work this way?
Wow.
Yeah, because this is how you've always shown up.
Mm.
So working on it on the right side is going to help the left side, the east, the west, the south, all of that, all parts of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Sounds like that would kind of bring balance and then kind of stop making you exhausted, probably.
yeah.
Mm.
What if you wasn't exhausted? What could you accomplish?
A lot more than I'm accomplishing right now, and a lot of people are accomplishing right now because that exhaustion is a result of some like you're not even doing anything. You're exhausted by something that's in your head.
That you had ruminating, it's going over and over
Wow.
and over and around in your head, and you're not letting it go. Hoping that somebody understand you, hoping that somebody get you. And why is that your qualifier? Somebody understanding you, and why are you making them responsible for you?
Mm.
That's like you becoming responsible for everybody around you in hopes of getting something in return. That ROI. Hoping that they get you the way you trying to understand and dissect them so that they'll like you, love you, and believe in you. That's what these women do on these jobs. They give all of themselves
Yeah.
in hopes of getting something in return instead of showing up fully qualified as themselves, doing what they need to do, and going home.
And going home. Exclamation mark. That's like what we're supposed to be
Right.
doing.
But we so caught up in figuring everything out, showing up for
Mm.
everyone else, believing in everything around us that's going to save us.
Wow. Do you okay, off topic a little bit, but people say like, "Oh, no one's coming to save you. No one's coming like you got to save yourself." What is Samantha Kaye's opinion on that?
I absolutely believe it's true because
Mhm.
not until I start loving myself, but that's the key. Learning to not just care for yourself because we have been conditioned to think that caring for ourselves is the same thing as loving. We can love
Wow.
everybody, we can do everything to satisfy everyone else. We can
Yeah.
show them the love that we want, again, hoping for that return on investment.
Yep.
But in order for us to show up fully and for us to have it, we got to learn to love us. You
Wow.
gotta save you, and that's the only way you're gonna save you. I was loving somebody at one point so much, I loved him so much, I made sure he was good and I forgot about me.
Hmm.
And when you forget about you, when you loving and pouring everything you in, you might give someone some care. Or you might care for yourself, like I'm exhausted, I'm gonna go to get a spa day. Oh, I'm gonna do some retail shopping. It's
Mm.
gonna make me feel that's caring for yourself. That's not loving you.
Wow, yeah.
Talking nice to you, giving you what you need, taking those breaks, slowing down, believing in you, trusting yourself. That means doing little things that's going to add up to the big things to satisfy you.
Yeah. How did your life look before you had that transition of believing in yourself? Like, if you can think about it in three parts, not believing, transitioning, and where you are now, like, how did that look when you were getting out of not believing in yourself? Because that seems like that's a huge part of this. If you don't believe in yourself, kind of there, like, you don't even have the tools to keep going. So, yeah.
I was tired, I was exhausted, I was overweight, I was
Mm,
sad. Um, I was looking for the world to save Samantha.
mm,
And I was angry. Some days I was just angry because no one was giving me everything and I was always showing up. But when I started loving me, when I started believing in me, when I started being my own best friend, my own ally, trusting me, cheerleading me, you know what I mean? Being
Yes.
my own squad, then it was easier for me to surround myself with the people that aligned with where I was going and where I was at. So now that helped me elevate, and they motivate me and I motivate them, and we grow together. It's no longer one way or the other. So that's what we have to learn, how
Yeah.
to do that. Love us. Give what you can to you first. Don't exhaust yourself giving to everybody else. What you think they're gonna give it back to you? They're not. And
That's the craziest part, yeah.
it's not so much givers and takers and all of this, because if you're giving, you need to figure out why you give so much. A lot of
Mm.
times we look for other people for these answers.
Mm.
Look within. Understand you.
Wow. Wow, that's actually crazy because you giving is the same thing as you asking for their validation because you're looking for something in return. But instead of you just asking, getting no answer, you already gave. So now you're negative
Yes.
and you still didn't get what you want.
You still waiting.
Oh my gosh.
You still waiting.
Mm. You talked about this about cheerleading and about being your self allyship during the event that I attended by you. And in that same webinar, you talked about the PRAF framework. Can we talk a little bit about just the outline of it and what it really means? I'm sure if people were to get coaching, they're gonna get everything. Like they're gonna know exactly what it's all about. But could you walk us through a little bit of what that would look like if we were to do our coaching with you? Because this is some inner work that we all need, honestly.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, when you work with me, you get to work on yourself first. I have 4 pillars that I work with women on. I work with them on their personal, professional, emotional, and self allying. If
Mm,
you can work on all 4 of those together, you're building a foundation for you
okay.
that you can now work. Each one works hand in hand, and it brings you safety, because not until you feel safe within yourself do you fully show up. Because
Mm,
fear will again make you hide, you'll freeze, you'll fawn, people please. Hey, can I help you? What I can do? That one drives me absolutely crazy because I've been there and I've done that. And sometimes because life happens and you still want people to be okay with who you are, you can fall into it. Then I have to, hey, why am I doing that? Am I looking for something? And I have to question myself. Or you in
mm.
fight mode all the time, and fight mode keeps you, so you see that right there.
Yeah.
It exhausts you. So those are the things that I work with women on when they come and they work with me, especially working in male dominated industries. So if we can get those right, especially that personal and that professional, then we can step into all the other things so you can have a better understanding of who you are and what you're doing and how you actually want to show up, because knowing you is the key to everything. And when we do my workshop, we learn how to stop people from mansplaining. That was the workshop that you um, were able to watch. And during that framework, you learn how to pause. Pause the conversation. That means stop someone from talking over you, talking to you crazy. Like, excuse me, I had the floor. Excuse me, when I'm done, you know, then we get to redirect it back to what we were saying. And after we redirect it, then we get to reiterate what we were saying to make sure everyone gets it, understands it. And let me see, my brain is on zero right now because we're gonna the PR, and goodness gracious, what was the last one? I'm over 50, so I don't remember.
F
Yeah.
AF.
Yes, my PR. Let me see. I keep my notes, so I'm over here somewhere. But yeah, but learning how to redirect them to so that you can stand up for yourself and believe in what you're saying. That's the key. So PR, and I can't think of that last one, but I know it. I know it. and it allows
Yeah.
you to become bold. It allows you to be brave. Allows you to be unapologetic. And you acknowledge that the person said, that's that A that I was looking for. You acknowledge them. Had to give myself a minute to think there. You acknowledge what's happening. So they'll know that you see them and you understand what they're doing. And that's when you get to redirect and bring it back to you and
Yeah.
take control of the floor. So,
You you are actually, like, so this is my second time meeting you, right? You
yeah.
are so, like, confident. It's actually I don't think there's a way to explain it, but just the way that you show up is so, like, "I'm here, this is who I am," and I love that so much because, um a lot of the women that I meet, I don't see that in. I don't see that embodiment of just confidence that I can tell that you've like really done this over time and it's been a priority for you to not exhaust yourself. Like I can tell. And I hope I cross all my fingers and my toes that I can be half as confident as you are. Like you are I mean, this is just it's so amazing to see it. Just even I brought up the craft framework and you're like, "Oh, I'm like thinking of the letters." And we're just I'm just you're just I just love it because a lot of people would just kind of clam up in a moment like that, but you have embodied this so much that the framework literally shows itself.
Well,
It's
thank
just
you.
amazing. I love that so much. It is honestly admirable, which is one of the main reasons I reached out just because, I mean, words are words, but words when they're backed up by a person who looks like they talk about what they talk about, that's really what I admire a lot. So that's I mean, secret, that's why I really reached out because I was like, what she's saying matches who she is. And I just love that so much. This is so inspiring, not just to me, but to the hundreds of people that will see this video over time. I'm so excited for other women to also be able to watch this video once it's posted.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm telling you right now, you already have it within you. It's just
Mm.
about unlocking it and allowing yourself to breathe easy and don't worry about it. Because what they gonna do? If I couldn't remember that last letter, what you was gonna do?
Nothing. I was gonna say, well, let's move on to the next
She'll put it in the show notes.
part. I love that.
But at the
Girl,
end of the day,
literally.
you already have it. It's believing that everything is going to be okay and that you don't
Yeah.
have to have all the
Wow.
answers. You don't have to be correct all the time. That what you give and who you are is enough, and you're doing it at the right time, right
Yeah.
now. And anything other than that wouldn't be you being true to yourself.
Mm.
And learning to be true to yourself, and that's where that self love and that self allyship comes from, is more
Yeah.
important than anything,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
know? And that plays on money, it plays on work, it plays on life, it plays on relationships.
Yeah.
But it's that self belief and that trust in you that's going to carry you without you. Not that you're not going to have those moments where you need your team, your squad, but if you already believe in it, then they say, you know
Mhm.
what, you right,
Yeah.
or they say you wrong. You already know what you believe. Like, I'm going to have this moment, I'm going to have these tears, I'm going to have this sadness, but ultimately it's up to me. And when we start knowing that we get to control us and no one else has that, there is a shift in the way you show up. When I say I stand flat footed, rooted, that's why I
Yeah.
have my podcast, Rooted in Your Confidence. When you rooted in something, and I always mess it up. I don't know if it's Psalms 1:3 or 3:1 or whatever. When you're rooted and grounded, depending on how you believe, it's like that tree. It's unwavering. It's not moving. You're
Yeah.
staying. It's like my mother used to say, you may stray, but you won't stay because it's in you. So believing in you, trusting in you, knowing you. And that's what we as women have to do. We have to get to know us and peel away all the societal norms, all the traditions, all the culture norms, all of those things that are shaping us, that identify us, the identifying factors of the patriarchal system that is not allowing us to fully embrace who we are. and hoping and
Mm.
praying that someone sees us and allows us to show up as ourselves or tell us good job, and we become then who they think we should be. When we
Yeah.
start figuring us out, we start trusting us, that's when that shift changes. That's when you become unapologetically you. That's when you can forget the letter of your own framework and still sit here and smile and be like, it is what it is.
Yeah. I love that. It's like, when you are no, I totally forgot what I was about to say, but oh, I was gonna go back to the finance thing. So you were talking about, like, how this literally feeds into every single part of your life, and so you're doing this for professional work, but then it ends up spilling over into your finances, spilling over into your relationships, etc. Like, what are some of the ways that you've seen this work with your clients? Like, okay, you see them here and they transform to this, like, oh, like all the way across the world. You're like, wow, they've changed so much. Like, what is one of those transformations that you've seen kind of with that? But also, and within the next 5 years or so, like, what do you see as that one big next thing that women will peel back? Like one of those societal norms that you just hope doesn't even exist. Like a lot of them have gone away. We still have plenty to go, but what is the next layer that you see women like peeling off and just like, okay, we don't do that no more.
Honestly, for me to speak for other women, I don't know. But the one thing that I hope that would is the patriarchal is the definition of what a woman should be and how she should look
Mm.
and how we conform to turn into that so that people would love us.
Oh,
When we
yeah,
start loving ourselves, we're not going to worry about what society says we should look like, smell like, taste like, feel like. We're just going to step into us and people are going to respect us. We're going to stop defining ourselves or allowing other people to define us.
yeah,
We get to define us and be us no matter what. And I think that's another thing that I get from working in a male dominated industry. I show up as me. Listen, listen, a whole bunch of extraness. You might get it all. But I don't mean extra in a bad way where they're defining me or even when I'm defining me, but I just get to be relaxed and just show up.
yeah.
Could you imagine
Wow.
just being able to show up every day? And it doesn't matter if they think, Samantha, oh, you different color here again today. There's something new. This is what I felt today. So this is what I'm
Yeah.
doing. You don't get to decide for me. Having those deciding factors and within ourselves without looking for, I remember being being told or you should sit a certain way, stand a certain way, because you
Mm,
still want to be a lady. You know, does it make me less of a lady if I wear steel toe shoes? It lets me make me less of a lady if I slouch sometimes because I'm tired. Instead of faking, fronting, and forcing, standing up and doing twisting
mm.
and turning and making myself more exhausted to be what everyone else wants me to be.
Yeah, yeah,
So I look at it even on a financial standpoint, with us wanting to care for ourselves instead of giving us what we need, then our finances suffer. That means we're spending more money to find something to make us feel good for the moment instead of long term, and finding that it comes where from within. So all of these things play a part in our lives, especially women. We're gonna have that retail shopping, retail therapy. We're gonna, honey, I've been there, did that. I got all these accessories that I
yeah,
spent so much money on, and the person was selling confidence. People will sell you confidence any way they can to make your money, and you have less in the bank.
yeah.
And you still trying to figure out how you're gonna pay your bills. You still working 3 times as hard, and you still haven't moved.
Wow.
But because people say, "Oh, you look so blah blah blah," now you feeling confident, but are you actually confident? Are you really going after the things you want? Are you asking for the raises? Are you positioning yourself to go after the jobs? Are you still doing the little things that you believe the men would want you to do in order for you to prove that you're still a female and they don't so they won't question your gender or your identity.
Mm.
So these are all the things that happen, or you won't be labeled. People tell you put on some bold color. I wear bold colors because I like them.
Yeah,
And I think I look good in them. Look at them
yeah.
purples. We showing up in this purple
I
today.
know.
Um,
Giving
but
jewel tone.
yes, come through, come through. That royalty, because it's royalty within us. But at the end of the day, people will sell you to find confidence instead
Mm.
of looking within. And
Yeah,
that's what women and I feel women should do, is look within. That's going to allow you to grow. That's going to allow you to elevate. That's going to allow you to be so freaking grounded and rooted in you. Can't nobody move
Mhm.
you or give you anything differently.
Yeah. So wait, wait though. Wait. Because if you are not worried about what everybody else is doing and you're fully grounded in you, well, you're fully rooted in your confidence, so you're feeling very grounded, you probably would move different. You would probably move extremely different than if you were to be doing what we talked about in the beginning.
Yes, exactly.
I'm seeing the
You
full
see it?
picture. I'm seeing it.
You see it, that
Yeah.
round robin. You see that
Yeah.
round robin? It came
Yeah.
all the way around. Yes.
Because it's like you will if you are rooted in your confidence, you will literally think things that a person who's like, okay, I'm rooted in my confidence. Like, this is just what I do. This is what I think. This is how I am. So then you're going to act that way. And then you're going to have those results that you want to have. Oh, we just amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. But like you said, this is not something that's like, oh, take something and then just like do these three things and boom, now you're
No.
that's no, because being rooted means that you're taking a lot of time to really do the inner work for it. So this is not just a simple fix that you can just get overnight. That's not how inner work works. That's it, because that would be an easy fix to something. But what we're looking for is that sustainable, like something that can last a long time, something that isn't fleeing, you know? Because that what do you get if you're happy for a month and then you just go back downhill?
Then you've, like I said, your mind plays your mind wants to keep you safe. Your brain wants to keep you safe.
Yeah,
So it automatically reverts back to what your norm is or what you're used to.
yeah.
So now you might figure it out in this part of your life for this one particular incident, but because your brain is just terrible sometimes, it don't treat you unless you learn to control it. It's coming back on the other side and it's going to bring it to you in a different way where you're going to have to do the work to understand why. Remember, we always want to know why we're not doing something or why we're showing up a certain way so
Mm,
that we can then do that work of changing the way we're thinking and figuring out that underlying belief, that core belief. So
mm,
then we can work on what we actually want so we can align with the person that we are becoming. So it's so important to figure out who you are, what you want, how you want to stand. And once you do that, that's when that shift happens.
yeah. Can you tell us more about your Rooted in Your Confidence podcast? That the link for it will be down in the description box for you guys to go check out. But can you tell us a little bit about that and kind of what we could be looking towards for 2025?
During 2025, you're going to hear weekly episodes from me. I probably will take a summer break, but for after my season is over. But when I created Rooted in Your Confidence, I created it for women in male dominated industries. But I know that women in any industry can really look at it and hold tight to it. When I first created it, I'm going to give you a little backstory. I was like, it ain't about them, it's about you. But that wasn't enough because that's what every woman that I talked to, it was always about what somebody else was saying.
Yeah.
But what I wanted them to do was not worry about what everyone else was saying. So I needed them to get rooted in their confidence. And that's where I birthed Rooted in Your Confidence from.
Mm,
That belief that knowing that you know that you know that you know, as old folks say, come on, somebody, that you then show up differently. You're believing in you and your confidence shift. So it's for women to understand why they're showing up or why they're not showing up, the steps to get to the next level so that we can grow. You'll hear from me, you'll hear from women that have worked in male dominated industries that made the shift and found out how and why they weren't and then started believing in themselves and either they stayed or they left. I talked to a young lady today, 22 years old, in politics.
wow.
Yes. And how many and been in politics since she was 17. So
Wow.
You think about that shift and that growth she had to do at such a young age and knowing and believing it within herself. So I want women to know that they're not alone, that there are other women out here that's going through. Because a lot of times when you're the first, the only, or few in an environment that's dominated by men, you then don't really think people understand. Because it's like a sisterhood, to
Yeah.
be very honest. I was talking to a friend of mine who works in a male dominated industry, and she was in the service and blah, 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 blah. It's something about us, you know, that that bond that we have, the conversations where you don't have to be dolled up pretty or nothing. You can just be free and be you, and you can talk a little junk with each other without people getting offended,
Yeah.
and you can just be. And
Wow.
just being able to be and getting someone to hear you and see you that gets that without faking it is
Yeah.
something that needs to be done and needed to be done. So I wanted to bring it to my sisters out there so that they knew that I see you, I
Yeah.
get you, and you get to show up as you and know that there's other people out here that's like you. Because we don't talk about it enough. You know, they teach us in male dominated industries how to fight for the raises, how to go for the jobs. But to really deal with the underlying issue, not so much. And that's what I want to work on. That underlying issue that keeps you from embracing your confidence. That's why I have my quiz also that I have women take so that they can tap into understanding why they're not showing up so that they can get to the place where they are showing up for themselves and believing in themselves.
Yes, and I will definitely have that quiz link down below as well so that you guys can be able to take that because it is extremely helpful. And like you said, when you're working with women, like you just mentioned, 17, started in politics at 17 and is in politics at 22, like what? That's like, I mean, that's transformational for a lot of people to be able to go, well, for her specifically to go through that, but for other people to have those conversations with you as well and be able to continue to ground themselves. But then if we don't have people like that around us or we don't see women like that, you're literally giving us Rooted in Your Confidence podcast so that we can have you as a person. We're like, okay, I need my real raw people right now. And we have somewhere to go for that. So that is amazing because we need communities like that. We absolutely
Yeah.
do. When I saw your event on Eventbrite, I was like, this is this is my type of thing. And we need to continue to have those pieces of representation out in the world. So I'm so excited that your podcast is going to be shared through my YouTube page, but also just through all your social medias, which I will also have down below. Do you have, well, let us know what your social medias are. I will have them down below, but just go ahead and say them just for the audience to have.
Okay, so on Instagram, I'm Coach Samantha Kaye. On Facebook, I'm Coach Samantha Kaye. My email is info@samanthakharris.com. The K is spelled out Kaye, and my website is www.samanthakharris.com. And the K is spelled out Kaye. Not only am I coaching, but I'm consulting, I do speaking, and now I am a podcast host of Rooted in Your
Yes.
Confidence.
Amazing. So thank you so much for being here. This was an absolutely amazing conversation. This was fun, but also so educational. I feel like I just got a good loving of both, which is such a good feeling. So glad to be connected with you. This was amazing. You are so just about what you talk about. And it's just amazing to be able to just be in your energy for this hour that we had.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for being courageous enough to reach out and asking for what you want. That in itself is a win. So don't ever think yourself short of any of that. When you ever feel like you can't, I want you to reach into that same place that you emailed me from, tap into that, and then move in that energy
Wow.
because
Yeah.
you deserve that.
Thank you. So I'm taking tomorrow's Monday. I'm taking that with me through the week.
All
Okay.
right.
I love that so much.
You're welcome.
Well,
You're
thank you so much again for being here. Again, all your links will be down below for everyone that's going to watch this video in the future. You don't need to go like, oh, where's all the stuff? It was already live. No, it'll be down below. Everything will still be there, even though that this was recorded live.
Well, thank you so much again. And thank you to your audience for watching and listening
Yes.
and being part of. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. You have an amazing night, and I'll see you guys in my next YouTube video.